A conversation with Steve Kroft about his 7-month investigation into safety problems aboard Allegiant Air.
I thought that when we started working on the story, I thought we'd be able to do it in a couple of months. I was somewhat surprised that it's taken so long.
We found more than 100 serious mechanical incidents, including mid-air engine failures, smoke and fumes in the cabin, rapid descents, flight control malfunctions.
These are all significant incidents.
Is there a sense of urgency there to get this story on the air?
Yeah, there has been. I think from the time that we started it, I think there was a sense of urgency that we wanted to get it finished. We had a number of different problems. I mean, at the beginning, we got no cooperation from either Allegiant or the FAA in terms of getting some of the documents that we wanted.
The interview that you did with the FAA, John Duncan, who is the executive director of flight standards, was really a stunning interview.
Stunning for the lack of information given up by the FAA. Have you ever heard this before?
I have not.
Is that something you might look into?
It's something that we do look into on a routine basis, yes.
Is it something you will look into?
It's something we will continue to look into.
I think people will be concerned about the FAA and the FAA's response to Allegiant.
I mean, at this moment, there are people up in the air on Allegiant flights.
Right.
Did that weigh on you while you were reporting?
Yeah, I think we wanted it to go on the air as soon as it was finished, as soon as we were done reporting it. The team was Michael Karzis as producer, and Vanessa Fica as producer, and Matt Lev as the editor.
The title of your story is Flying Under the Radar. Have you been surprised that people don't know about this story?
Flabbergasted. You would think that more people would know. Vanessa Fica says there's always been a lot of Twitter traffic on it about Allegiant and people having bad experiences on the plane. There are a lot of angry flyers right now that are unhappy with service or unhappy with the delays. But there's a big difference between that and having a crisis on board. You rolling? Okay, then we're going to start. We're just going to go around the room, and I'd like you to say your name. We talked to a group of passengers from 2 different flights. I've never flown Allegiant.
Lucky you.
And we talked to a lot of people before we talked to them. Those are the people we talked to on camera.
And there was smoke in the cabin and fire coming out of that engine. And I just remember thinking that I would never see my daughter again.
You thought this was it?
It's traumatizing.
Right. Well, actually, I've been in a plane crash.
You've been in a plane
Yeah.
crash? What kind of plane crash?
In Brazil, coming back from covering President Reagan there. There's a picture in my office of the crash landing we had to make.
The wing hit a tower.
Yeah.
And so that must have been a real jolt.
It was a real jolt. It was a real jolt. The overhead compartments came down. We flew around for 40 minutes and then made a emergency crash landing. We covered it. I got off. I had to do the story for the evening news.
Steve Kroft was aboard the plane. Here's his report.
Can you tell us what happened?
I was sitting in the jump seat during takeoff.
At first the landing was smooth. Then the airplane began shaking, an ominous vibration that built, then gradually began to subside. As for the passengers,
We're both glad to be alive.
We're both real glad to be alive.
Okay.
It does have an effect on you. It was a long time before I was able to feel comfortable taking off. If you go through that, it's a horrible experience to be in a plane for a half an hour and not know whether you're going to, you know that the plane is going to have to come down on the ground and whether people are going to be killed or not, whether you're going to be killed. It's a very traumatic experience.
Was anyone hurt?
Minor injuries.
So for people who love the deals that they get when they buy a ticket from Allegiant, what do they need to know about what's really happening at this airline?
Well, they need to know that the Allegiant was 3 times more likely to have something go wrong on this plane than they would on another airline.
Some might call that terrifying.
Well, yeah. They have never had an accident. They've never had a fatal accident.
Do you think that the flying public has any idea about the safety culture of Allegiant?
No. And we asked that to a number of people, including Loretta Alcalay, who's a former lawyer for the FAA. Do you know anybody in the industry that flies Allegiant?
No. No, and I know that a lot of people talk about how they don't fly Allegiant.